Are you expecting a shrimping gold rush?
I'm expecting this town to go crazy.
This is the gold rush people in Alabama are hoping for. A promise from the president that tariffs will lift jobs and prosperity here and across the USA.
President Trump's tariffs are, for the near future, are going to be our lifeline.
It's an American shrimp.
Gulf shrimp.
It's a Gulf shrimp. It's our backbone. If we don't have that, we ain't got nothing.
But this enthusiasm for a new wave of protectionism stands in contrast to the post-war Washington consensus.
Tariffs won't grow the U.S. economy. They won't increase production.
I think on the net, we'll end up worse off. That's what economists tell people.
Okay, you are in your way.
On the bayou in the American Deep South, shrimping has been a way of life for generations.
That's all I wanted to do. It was a deep desire within me.
For shrimpers like Jeremy, the economic consensus needs to be ripped up.
At one time years ago, this dock was lined with all shrimp boats. And there was several processing plants. It's gone, it's over with.
But waves of cheap shrimp from India, Ecuador and Indonesia have undercut prices and left American businesses adrift.
It's always highs and lows, so feast or famine. And we've been in the famine for quite a long while now. You know, we don't want handouts, we don't want free money, but we want a fair shake in the market. And we don't want our tax dollars going to subsidize foreign production.
Like many people around Bayou La Batterie, Jeremy is convinced that US tax dollars have been misspent by organizations like the UN and the World Bank, supporting fishing and manufacturing overseas at the expense of US fishermen.
Are tariffs the answer?
Part of the answer for sure. You know, we can't be just a nation of consumers. We have to be producing something. Real wealth comes from production, not from consumption.
This is the fantail shrimp.
Demonstrating the appetite for shrimp, the local mayor and netman himself says Trump has got it right.
We prayed that he would get elected. I wrote him a letter and explained it all to him, what we needed. I don't know if he ever read it, but some of the stuff he's doing was in my letter. The tariffs.
Do it! Hurry or swing it, look!
Kathy owns the restaurant we're dining in. She's fiercely protective of the seafood she serves.
It's a loving taste. If you don't, why you ain't finished that shrimp?
Her mum, she says, could peel hundreds of shrimp an hour.
We're proud of our town, and the shrimping industry is what we're proud of.
A world away from life on the bayou, there's a festival of consumption on the streets of New Orleans. 50 years ago, the American economy was abuzz with manufacturing, from dolls and widgets to fridges and fizzy drinks being sent all across the world. But gradually it became cheaper to make those dolls and widgets abroad, taking jobs and factories with them. What Americans got in return was a boom in imports of low-cost electronics, clothing and other goods, which in aggregate lifted household incomes. But pockets of industry were undone, leaving many working-class Americans behind. President Trump's economic critique is about those global trade imbalances putting the US on a path of no return. In towns like Donaldsonville, Louisiana, the president wants to see an industrial renaissance take shape. Here they voted overwhelmingly for Trump and brought into his vision of renewed economic prosperity. South Korea's Hyundai said it would build a brand new $6 billion steel plant to cater to the US auto sector right here on the banks of the Mississippi. And they're not alone. So what difference will these changes mean for the wider economy? Isn't President Trump's vision for reindustrialization to bring manufacturing back, isn't that going to fix some of those issues?
It might fix some of those issues. If you get some industry coming back here, you get 100,000 jobs in manufacturing come back here. Good for those people who work in that industry. Everybody else, there are 365 million consumers, are going to be worse off because the price of everything is going to go up, which means their standard of living is going to go down. It's a bad game. okay? It's a really bad game.
8 decades of Pax Americana has given the US a golden credit card for spending. But at that time, this is what's happened to US net trade compared to China's. Just around the time China joined the World Trade Organization, the trade trajectories of the two countries radically diverge, leaving the US with a massive trade deficit, something President Trump says he's determined to close.
There is no way to address this imbalance without making America poorer. You can make Americans consume less and save more, which means lower standard of living in the short term. You can also invest less, which also means lower standard of living.
But that's a message that doesn't convince many in the MAGAverse or the president who leads it.
There is undeniably a marriage between the message, the man, and a part of the electorate which felt that they were hurt by too much globalization, too much trade, and an ineffective response from Washington.
Out on the waters of the bayou, the Washington orthodoxy seems far away. Jeremy's hopes are now tied to the man who wants to make waves with the whole world economic order, and what that could mean for his town and his legacy.
When they shovel dirt on me and I'm going in the ground and they say, well, that was the last of the fishermen, that will be a failure.
Oh man, that's no good.
Making America great again has been about identity as well as economic promise. But unthawing the industrial revival of yesteryear may be harder to deliver than people realize.